A lot of people have been feeling off, and if you're one of them, well, there's a lot of things going on right now. Well, we got this equinox happening in a few days, and we have an eclipse. So, usually when something like this happens and we just had an eclipse, things are super chaotic. People will be weird or easily triggered, and there tends to be a lot of things. I'm going to be showing you guys the Schumann Resonance. It's September 19th. I'm going to be showing you Schumann Resonance, space weather, and I want to talk about that massive earthquake that happened. There's a lot of things to get into, so by all means, of course, welcome everyone. Joe Sky here, back at it again with the Schumann Resonance, September 19. Boop, boop, boop. Not much activity other than just some really big spikes. We've been having so many spikes that are really tiny and nothing too massive. Overall, just a lot of moderate activity being shown. That's what green is. And then we had this weird line on hour 21 of the 18th yesterday. And this is a weird line. I made a YouTube short on it that'll give you you can see it better. Um, it looks very weird. Moving forward, of course, here's the Italian Schumann resonance and just a little bit of rumbles. We're 4 days, I think, since the coronal hole, the massive coronal hole we had, and there hasn't been anything on the Schumann resonance, which means it's probably more of a human resonance, and it probably has to do more with us than solar weather. That has to be the case here. Something. Because it's been a while. Again, we got another few days. If nothing happens on the Schumann resonance, and that could be two things. There could be a couple of things to talk about. But I will say this: there is no noteworthy weather or anything like that. Everything has finally calmed down. And yeah, there is nothing happening. Will we see anything? I have no idea. There has been no updated photos of the sun. So, there's a lot to really think about here. There's a lot to, um, you know, question. Because number one is what's going on with the Schumann resonance? Are these stations old? Are these stations not good enough? Because, they're in Russia, one's in Italy. Um, I think the data or the charts, the stations, they are just not really picking up on much. So I guess it would seem, based on looking at this chart, it almost looks like none of it makes sense. And the reason why is because on hour 23 of the 17th, it feels like there was missing a chunk. Even if you just look at hour 15 and 16, that was fine. But it just looks like, you know, how is it green and then right around like around a few hertz, really like towards the top of the graph, and then all of a sudden it's kind of going down. It just doesn't look like legitimate data, or it doesn't look like it's getting a legitimate reading here. So this is a big thing going around, and honestly, this has to be the case. I mean, how many blackouts have we had? Multiple stations are still down, so we're gonna have to see. Um, do they ever upgrade these? Probably not, but hopefully they do. And another thing is because of the coronal hole, there was a massive earthquake in Russia. Here's the thing, though. One geophysicist named Stefan Burns is saying that this coronal hole that we had led to this. And in a previous time, there was a massive coronal hole and other activity rised up, and so did a massive earthquake happened. So, we are noticing this correlation, and I do partially, if not mostly, agree with this. That coronal holes do eventually lead to a massive earthquake happening. But then again, Russia has been having a bunch of massive earthquakes, so maybe this is something that we have to do our research on. Overall, we really don't know what's going on. Maybe something weird is happening there, right? But overall, of course, um, definitely something to consider. But for the Schumann Resonance, I'm going to give it a few days. That's it. By Saturday, I'm gonna be generous. Even by Saturday, if we don't have, as long as we have no human significance thing happening and stuff like that, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think solar weather, solar space, space solar winds, or coronal holes, or really anything has anything to affect the Schumann resonance with. But then again, maybe just maybe it's the charts. But overall, of course, this chart doesn't represent all your issues and problems, because when there's an equinox and or what's it called, eclipse, these are very astrological. I guess you want to say like astrological events like that. Um, People in the modern age use the numerology. Most of the numerology within this calendar, I'm not gonna lie right now, most of the numerology within this calendar doesn't really add up entirely. I do like this calendar that they have, but again, it doesn't necessarily work around with all the astrological events and stuff like that, and the things that are happening in space and the other planets and rotations. This calendar doesn't work with that. So that's why 8 8 and things like that, 11 11, those are just numerology terms with not much happening. But again, numerology and people's belief in these things. Again, I do like numerology, which is legit. I do like astrology and whatnot. But again, um, eclipses and things like that, they definitely do have an impact though. Just want to keep that like you know, they do have an impact, so you will be feeling a certain way, right? You might be feeling sick, you might be feeling horrible, you might be feeling out of it, you might be feeling like what the heck, everything is coming up from the past, right? Those things happen, and things have to be released. You have to do the work. This chart apparently, and this is it at this point, right? I mean, what's the point of messing with the Schumann resonance? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not the thing. This is not at all important of a chart. It's not, how I want to say, it's not, worthless. It's just not as important due to the fact that most of what I feel and most of what most people are feeling, well, it has nothing to do with this chart. It's really the numerology. It has to do with a lot of other things. So I don't think this is the main thing to be concerned about. So again, there's those things happening, equinox and eclipse, things from the past, a lot of karma, a lot of things like that, and overall, of course, a lot of you, if you've been struggling, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with this. I don't think it's anything to do with the solar weather. The past 9 days, nothing to do with the sun. Well, we did a G3. We did have a G3, but I don't know if that. I don't remember it bothering me at all. No, it's all astrology. It's the eclipse and it's this equinox during periods like this, especially in March as well. So that's what's going on, and it's definitely rough. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.